Alrighty, so let's move into NFL offseason moves now. No NBA regular season this week. Comes back Thursday, so NFL draft is coming along. NFL offseason is here, and it's time to start talking about these offseason moves that could possibly happen. First, with the most important thing, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens situation with the contract disputes. Lamar's wanting over 200 plus million with like fellow players like Deshaun Watson, who's getting fully guaranteed 230 million. Kyler Murray's getting close to almost 200 million guaranteed. Aaron Rodgers is getting paid 50 million per year, the highest paid quarterback per year. So Dan, what do you think? Should Lamar Jackson get paid around 200 plus million guaranteed?
It's no question to me, man. Of all the guys at the top of these lists that you see for the contractual values, who has similar output or the similar value on the field as Lamar Jackson? Lamar Jackson, MVP winner, dude. I don't know about playoff success, but that's not really, you can't really point that out as his fault because, you know, you can attest it to whatever his team, easy to game plan for, whatever his personnel. But dude, the people, the guys in, what's the word I'm trying to looking for? In that same caliber, bro. They're all making around that type of money, and I feel like Lamar can even be better than some of these guys. I think he's better than Kyler Murray or Deshaun Watson at some points. And you can make the argument he's always injured, whatever, bro, but he's injured because he's doing what he's got to do. Like this year, he got injured because I'm pretty sure the play he got injured was a sack, even. So most of the time, it's just him putting his body out on the line for his team because he's that type of guy. He's a warrior. He's always gonna go out fighting, go out swinging. So yes, if you ask me, Lamar Jackson is fully worth the 200 million and more. I don't know about how much more, but I think he's worth 200 million guaranteed. Yeah.
All right. So there's a lot of different ways you can go with answering this question because there's a lot of different variables when going about it. If we're talking about this play on the field, what it has been, yes, he deserves that kind of money. If we're talking about paying someone for the future, that's all you have to also think about, that you're getting paid for what you can do in the future, not what you've done in the past. That's what these front offices think about. And I still can answer that question and say yes, definitively. An issue, though, that I would have is if Lamar wants to get paid that much more money, that takes away from money that they could use for other skill positions to build around him. Patrick Mahomes, he did a 10-year deal, getting paid almost $500 million. It's spread it out throughout those 10 years, where Patrick Mahomes is only the fifth highest paid quarterback right now. So they get some extra money each year to be able to spend for more wide receivers, to spend for more linemen to protect him. If Lamar wants to get paid that much money, he won't be able to have that extra cash to splurge on an Odell Beckham Jr. midway through the season to help him push him over to get to the Super Bowl or something like that. So
if we're talking about specifically try and make a play for guys like that, I don't even know. Like,
that's another issue too, though, is that the Baltimore Ravens haven't put anything around him, and Lamar Jackson has done this on his own. He became the MVP. I mean, he's running for over 1,000 yards basically every single season. Another problem is, though, gets a little hurt. The last two seasons, he hasn't been able to finish the whole regular season, but that's just because he's putting his body on the line because no one else can really do anything with that offense besides him and Mark Andrews. But obviously, Lamar Jackson's going to get the ball to Mark Andrews. So
Mark Andrews was crazy hurt this year, too.
So if we're talking about just him as a player, he's 100% worth that value. But if Lamar wants to be paid like that, be the highest paid player, then go for it, obviously. But if you want to be able to win championships and year after year be in contention like Mahomes is, then you might want to take a little bit less. But Russell Wilson, second, is getting paid $49 million per year. Kyler Murray, third.
All these guys got their money after Mahomes, by the way. Mahomes, I don't know if he
signed before all these guys.
Yeah.
So Mahomes is going to be like the 9th or 10th paid highest quarterback once Joe Burrow gets paid, once
pretty much,
Justin Herbert gets paid, Trevor Lawrence gets paid. Right. So if I was the Ravens, I would have paid him as soon as I could have, just so I can already start getting him on the books and the faster we start the contract, the faster we can he can get moved down the line of highest paid players, so we have more money to use for other players as soon as possible. Like with Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, I don't think they should have paid him in general or as much as they did, because Dak Prescott is getting paid $40 million plus a year. He's not worth that. He's worth maybe $30 million plus a year. So I think that, but the Cowboys waited a year. They franchise tagged him for that 1 year when they could have paid him right away, and then they can get a year off of him earlier once his contract is done, stuff like that. So at the end of the day, if Lamar does want to get paid, I think he should get paid, but I don't think he should be getting
Of course he wants to
paid
get paid, though.
more than a Joe Burrow, though, or Justin Herbert, or even a Trevor Lawrence, in my opinion, just because of their ability to throw the football. That's just the biggest thing, too.
And I guess I can agree with you there. I mean, my thing is, though, when people argue Lamar's ability to throw the football, we haven't even really seen how he looks with a 1A receiver, a consistent, reliable offense that kind of.
But you won't be able to do that if you're getting paid $200 plus million. You won't be able to get that star-studded a top tier wide receiver when you get paid that.
And that's another thing. You can't even knock Lamar for wanting his money, and that has nothing to do with Lamar. I feel like that's more of that's the front office's. You know what I mean? Responsibility. They threw Roquan Smith $100 million like it was nothing after they made that trade with the Bears, and they wanted him to stay there. And I'm not saying it was a bad move, but where do your priorities align? Who's more important to you and your team, Lamar Jackson or Roquan Smith? And if you knew some of that money you're going to give to Roquan is going to take away from Lamar, why not make trades or make moves accordingly to get some guys that don't even play, or free up some dead cap so you can give your guy the money he rightfully deserves? Because this has been this isn't just something we're being blindsided by. This has been in the talks for 2 years. Lamar's wanted the extension or whatnot, and because the numbers weren't right, Lamar said, "I bet I'm gonna just go out and play, let them determine my value." But because he's going so hard out there at some points he's playing for the contract. He's trying to prove his worth, even though he really shouldn't be proving his worth. The guy's an MVP. That says enough already. Not too many players in the league win MVPs, and you drafted one last pick of the first round. The guy just tired of being slighted, tired of being disrespected. So when you put your foot down like this, there's going to be some drastic circumstances. But with a guy like Lamar Jackson, I'm willing to bet my chips on him, and he'll come through. So when you talk about guys like Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert, I'm going to be completely honest. Justin Herbert, I don't think he deserves more money than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, he might not be the arm talent Justin Herbert is, but that guy, I feel like he'll produce more wins than Justin Herbert, just because by any means necessary he'll get it done. I know Herbert can scramble a little bit, but Lamar Jackson is just way more dynamic. And he's literally, you can run an offense through Lamar Jackson. You saw it. They're doing it right now. The only guy he has to throw to is a tight end. It's basically their wide receiver one, Mark Andrews. But other than that, Lamar Jackson is that offense. And to me, it's a no-brainer, dude. At $200 million, $210, $220, he should be making more than Deshaun Watson, $230 million guaranteed easily, if that's the type of money we're throwing away. But let me go ahead and say another piece real quick, and I'll be done. I don't think these guys should be getting this type of money, though. Mahomes got $45 million a year, 10 years guarantee, all that stuff, all the good stuff, because he's Patrick Mahomes. There's no one in the talent. There's no talent in the league like Patrick Mahomes. Maybe Josh Allen, you can argue, but I don't even think Josh Allen should be making nearly as much as Mahomes. So when I saw that contract, I was literally like, dude, that's baseball money. Rightfully deserved, though, because Mahomes we've never seen anything like him. So for a lot of these expectations these players have on contracts, is their own fault, I feel like. And they get mad when they can't win Super Bowls, and these are direct byproducts of being too greedy or whatever, and not having the foresight to see, because you would never see Tom Brady go out and ask for a contract like that. Mahomes definitely didn't ask for a contract like that. The Chiefs just wanted to do right by him because they know what they have, and that's what it looks like when you respect a player and you understand the value to your team. I'm not saying Lamar should have got something like that, but if I feel like if the Ravens really valued Lamar, they wouldn't have let it come to this. And I don't know if he's officially a free agent, but there wouldn't even be talk of franchise tagging this guy. Like, what is there a need to franchise tag him for? He is the franchise. Give him franchise money. But yeah, that's all I got to say on that.
Yeah, so there's a non-exclusive franchise tag, which means that you can tag him, and then any other franchise can offer him money and like offer the team picks or draft compensation and stuff like that to then obviously trade for him or whatever and stuff like that. And then there's the exclusive one, which is just strictly just Baltimore Ravens tag him and then he gets paid a certain amount of money or whatever. Here's a problem that I have with Lamar Jackson though of him playing this season. I know he wants to play it out. He wants to be there for his guys and his team like that, but we're in the same situation we were in last year about you getting paid. Now they can use this, oh, well, he's injury prone because you missed kind of like the last 5 seasons. I'm not saying that's what I'm saying, but I'm saying that's what they're going to come to the table and say. Be like, you're injury prone. We can't give you 230 plus million. The best ability is availability, and you're not available.
So,
you're not available.
I feel like that segues perfectly into what we want to talk about next. Where do you see this guy going? Because if that happens, you know Lamar is not going to be too. He couldn't pack up his bags quicker. He said, "All right, bet, I'm going because I know for sure somebody else will give me that type of money." Atlanta was ready to give it to Deshaun. He might go to Atlanta. Do you think he can go to Falcons? Go to the Falcons?
I think he goes back home maybe and goes maybe to South Beach to Miami with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle.
You think they just give 2 of the boot like that?
That'd be the fastest QB wide receiver combo in NFL history by a long shot.
Easily.
Run in some read option with Tyreek Hill and Lamar Jackson in the backfield. Mike McDaniel would do some crazy stuff like that or whatever. But
oh yeah, no doubt.
Tua is not available consistently either. Obviously, he had 3 concussions. That's just super unlucky, or maybe that is just who Tua is. But Lamar is a little bit more available than that, and especially if you get a mind like Mike McDaniel with Tyreek Hill,
I feel like then he'd be able to fully showcase, his value. He'd be abused. He'd be abused in Miami. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way.
Seeing him in a aqua blue uniform too,
crazy.
Like he just looks like Miami, bro.
Yeah, and that's his city too. Yeah. That's why I wanted. That's why I wanted the Jags to take him, man. It would have been a match made in heaven, bro.
I don't know if the Ravens would send him to the AFC though. They might want to send him to the NFC where there's no quarterbacks, which might benefit Lamar more. Going to the NFC where it's just Jalen Hurts right at the moment. That's like top tier level quarterbacking. So maybe an NFC team like the Panthers, maybe if they want to give up their pick in this year's draft, and then Ravens draft a new quarterback or something like that. But I don't know. I mean, I think the Dolphins would be the perfect option for him, though.
Dolphins. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of realistic options for him. There is no limit, really, to a realistic option. I feel like if a team needs a quarterback and they have the assets to make a move like that happen, because I don't even feel like it's about assets. Of course it is, because the Ravens are definitely going to want to recoup what they're losing if they do trade Lamar Jackson, but they weren't going to pay him to begin with anyway, so it's not like, I feel like the Ravens, if that's the case, they'd be the more pressured side to make something happen. And dude, all around, I just feel like the Baltimore Ravens are doing a really bad job at handling this. I feel like this whole situation should be just like pressure on their side.
It's weird because they're a good front office. They normally don't make like these weird decisions and like these drama filled, like they're all over the
I'll say
media.
They're a good front office defensively. I feel like that's just because that's their identity, though. It's always been their identity. But
yeah, maybe they don't think, we don't need a star-studded quarterback. We can just build up our defense and roll like that. I mean, Tyler Huntley's not the worst option, but he's not Lamar Jackson, nowhere near Lamar Jackson level. So I think. Do you think he stays or do you think he goes? I think personally the Ravens are going to pay him.
They better. I hope they pay him, because if they don't pay him. Like, do you hear the name you just threw out? You just put Tyler Huntley and Lamar Jackson in the same sentence. No disrespect to Tyler Huntley, but would you rather have an MVP or a guy? We saw what Tyler Huntley looked like last year. He's not going to take you to the playoffs or win the Super Bowl or nothing. Dude, if you put Tyler Huntley under, give him a full year to run that offense, dude, I'm going to be honest. I don't know if they're doing as well as they were. Definitely not, but I don't even know if they make it to 500. I don't. Lamar Jackson
Yeah.
is that big of an offensive piece.
You also need a quarterback in that division. You got Joe Burrow with the Bengals. They're going to be always a contender. Kenny Pickett, who
Yeah, he's
knows what he
coming
can turn
up.
out
He's
to
coming
be.
up.
And then if Watson can get back to what he was like before,
He's starting to look okay towards the end of the year. So give him a little bit more time, and I think he'll.
those are three could be legit quarterbacks in your own division. You can't run up with Tyler Huntley and expect to go win the division or
No,
get into playoffs
That's
like
not how it
that.
works. Dude, if Lamar Jackson leaves, the Bengals will hold that division for the foreseeable future. Lamar Jackson goes to New York, God forbid. I just think it's over for the league at that point. Or I mean, I don't know about over for the league, but there's a new contender. There's a new contender for sure. That would be interesting. I think that's another fit I want to see. Lamar in New York, the Jet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good option too. I mean, that just segues us right into what the heck are the Jets doing this offseason? They got three quarterbacks.
They got options, baby. They got options.
Derek Carr, Lamar Jackson, and Aaron Rodgers. I mean, those are three
Yeah, and
obviously Aaron Rodgers and Lamar, the top level. Derek Carr's he's a good mid-tier quarterback, but where do you think Carr and Rodgers are going off?
Aaron Rodgers, I feel like Aaron Rodgers for sure, a prime destination for him is New York. I feel like it kind of just makes sense anyways. Big name, big market, but more than that, the Packers, I don't think they want to send him in the AFC, like you said, in the conference. They don't want to see that guy again, so they're going to send him out of conference, send him to New York or wherever else in the AFC, wherever else that wants to make a push. But that's if they want to give up all the assets, because you saw the meeting with Derek Carr. It went good, whatever that means. They could easily go with another option, but I don't know if Derek Carr is enough. I think he's enough to make a playoff push. They don't need too much. They already have the pieces on all that set up over there. He's just gonna walk right into a situation with a new team. He's just got to be able to be a good enough leader, because that is a pretty young team, I will say, and they have a little bit of some injuries. I'm not sure how Breece Hall will look coming back, if he's gonna be the same. Hopefully he is. Sports medicine nowadays is crazy, so ACL tears are like nothing somehow. Hopefully he comes back all right. But obviously you'd rather have Rodgers than Derek Carr, no? You feel like?
If we're talking short term, 2 years, this is
Yeah.
it. This is our last chance to get the
That's a lot to
playoffs.
think about.
100%. But if the thing is if you get Rodgers, you're going to be in the same situation next offseason. Is he retiring? Does he want to leave? What's he doing? He's in a black cave. He's gone for 4 days. We don't know what he's doing.
Is he still on his retreat?
I think he came back from his retreat. Whatever he was doing, he came back from it or whatever. But I think it's worth it to do that every offseason or whatever with him, because it's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Derek Carr, I agree with you. He's good enough to get to the playoffs, and I think they would win a playoff game at least with the Jets. But you got Burrow, Mahomes, Allen,
Right.
Lawrence. You need those top quarterbacks in the AFC. If it was the NFC, I'd say, yeah, put the Jets in for a conference championship game if they're in the NFC. But that's what I'm saying. The conferences are just AFC with the quarterbacks is just so overpowering. So I think Derek Carr's best option would be to go with the Jets for personally for Derek Carr.
Mhm.
But if
the
I'm the
Jets-
Jets, I want Rodgers over Carr. But I think Rodgers has a better chance in Vegas with Adams and Josh McDaniels in the black hole, the actual black hole. He can go to a different black hole in Vegas. Playing in Vegas, I mean, Rodgers from Cali, so I feel like
kind of close. Yeah.
kind of close to West Coast. Devontae Adams said he tweeted him out, said yeah, he can live right next to me when it's during the end of the season. So I think Rodgers' best option would be the Raiders. Personally, if I'm Rodgers, and if I'm the Raiders, I'd go after Rodgers as well.
The Raiders, they have cap. Yeah, I think they do have cap to go out. They let a lot of guys go.
Plus, we got to figure out if they're going to sign Josh Jacobs or not, too.
I hope they do. I hope they do, or there's just no loyalty left in the NFL. If Josh Jacobs finds a new team, wow. But the Raiders and Rodgers, the fit, it makes sense. The fit, it does make sense for sure. But maybe it'll just kind of be like, honestly, no. I kind of just remade my mind in my own head. I just went through an entire process of emotions. My bad. I feel the exact same way as I do with New York. It's just another big city, and he kind of already has a situation made up over there. I keep thinking the Raiders were trash. I mean, the Raiders are the Raiders.
On paper, they look like they're ready to roll. So maybe if Aaron Rodgers gets put in that position instead of Derek Carr.
Yeah, they started off really slow. It was like 1-7 or whatever, and then they turned up. I can't lie. Towards the end of the half, they almost made a playoff appearance. But you're right. Maybe Aaron Rodgers in there. There's definitely a lot more consistency from your quarterback play on that side of things.
You got Peyton now with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson will definitely be better next year with Sean Payton. You still got Mahomes and Herbert, so you need a quarterback.
Yeah, that's a divisional matchup too. Yeah, I think honestly a lot of these teams are prime. They're prime landing spots. I want to throw Lamar Jackson in this mix too, but you can't really because you don't. It's just you know what I mean. So murky. You just don't know what the hell is going to happen with those guys. So while they just determine Lamar's future, I guess, or just figure out what's going on with him. Oh, go ahead. What's up?
Here's two NFC teams that we're talking about the two AFC teams. Obviously, those are the two big teams that need a quarterback with the Jets and the Raiders. Two NFC teams that they need a quarterback, I think, and they could get that superstar quarterback, and they're ready to make the playoff push and go to the Super Bowl.
I got one team in mind. Who are you thinking?
I don't think the Packers wouldn't do this though. They wouldn't. They don't want these two teams, but Rodgers would 100% do it. I feel like he should. Vikings and 49ers. I feel like 49ers.
The Niners got some answers to make a QB too, for
Derek
sure.
Carr, I think, would be again. They'd be on lock to make the conference championship game. When you got a veteran quarterback like Derek Carr, I mean, he doesn't have to do much. I mean, they made Brock Purdy look like
Derek Carr
like a legit starter. They made Brock Purdy look better than Dak Prescott, who's getting paid $40 million. So, but the Vikings are also very interesting too because what do you do with Kirk Cousins? Like,
for sure,
he's not bad enough. He's not bad enough to the point where you like he's literally the most average quarterback. Like he's not horrible and he's not great when he needs to be great. And if you get Derek Carr, I feel like Derek Carr is better than Kirk Cousins, so that at least gives you a little bit more leverage. And maybe you trade Kirk or something like that, and then get more draft picks that hopefully can turn into maybe getting a young quarterback if Derek Carr doesn't turn out the way you want him to.
I'm looking for Kirk Cousins' contract right now. I'm just interested, trying to see how much
he's getting paid $40 million too.
I don't even know because he's not on.
He's ninth. He's $35 million plus year. He's ninth right now. Kirk Cousins is ninth.
It's crazy.
So maybe you go cheap with Derek Carr on a 2 or 3 year deal with Derek Carr with the Vikings. Try to ship out Kirk and get a few draft picks from that, and then you got a bunch of cap space. Maybe another quarterback comes along and would want to go to Minnesota with Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, and those boys over there in Minnesota.
Derek Carr, Justin Jefferson fit would be interesting. I'd like to see how that looks. The question you got to think of is how much more would they have to give up for Derek Carr? Do you think? I mean, he's a free agent, so I guess they could just sign him. Does it work like that? Nah, Derek Carr's gonna want some money, man. He doesn't just want to walk on and compete for a QB spot. That's what I was thinking. Maybe he competes against Kirk, and then they trade one of them.
There's reports that Derek Carr and the Saints are interested in Derek Carr too as well, but the cap situation in New Orleans is just so bad. Dennis Allen's a defensive coach too. He's not an offensive coach. I feel like if I'm Derek Carr, I'm not going to get a 4-year, $100 million plus contract anymore in my career. That's just out of the way. Now that I'm on my second,
that's like 25 M's. That's like annual. I feel like that's average QB.
Well, $100+ million is what I'm saying. He's not going to get that. He's not going to get a big contract. He's going to be getting. He's a player now that's going to get the 2 to 3 year contracts like the Carson Wentz's and the Matt Ryans
I
of
think
the
he's of
world.
the higher tiers of that. But yeah, I
He's
do
better
think,
than them,
yeah,
but he's not going to be getting the top 10 money anymore.
that was even a one-time thing. That's just because he got it. He was in Vegas or Oakland, wherever the team was at the time.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know how I feel about Minnesota making a move for Derek Carr, or even moving on from Kirk Cousins. I feel like they're just way too invested into Kirk at this point, and you see how he is around the locker room too. Like, it just the culture of that
Kirk
team, just the
James.
vibe around him. They ride for Kirk heavy, so I don't know if I think he's just gonna stay there. They're gonna ride
Yeah,
die or die behind him.
but if you get a guy like a Lamar Jackson or something like
There's no
that,
question. You
I
make the
think
play for Lamar.
you'd ride for a little bit Lamar too or something like that
I
as
would
well.
say
I
the
mean, you
same thing
gotta
about
think.
Rodgers, but it's a divisional rival. I don't think they like Rodgers at all.
No, Packers wouldn't trade him to Minnesota at all.
Hell no, yeah.
They said that they would trade him out of conference if anything. So Rodgers is getting shipped to the Raiders or Jets or something like that. But Caleb Williams is coming to the league too. Like these, if you
That's what
don't
I was
have a
saying, dude. There's
quarterback,
gonna be a lot more, even in the AFC, bro. Bryce Young, off the top of my head, the Houston Texans, they trying to, and the Colts, both AFC teams, they're trying to draft high.
DJ Stroud.
Yeah, CJ Stroud. I even forget that. How did I forget his name? Yeah, they're drafted top 3, top 5 pick QBs. So we got some more elite talent on the way coming. I don't
And
know
then
if they're gonna
Justin
be.
Fields takes off too, like you need Minnesota. I mean, you need a quarterback. You just need it. You can't live without it.
A team I'm surprised you didn't throw out in the mix for Lamar is the Atlanta Falcons, just because I saw how heavy they tried for Deshaun. I think this offseason, they might they came in late too last year. That was everyone thought, I forget what the original teams were. Everyone thought he was going to the Saints. Everyone thought he was going to New Orleans for a little bit too. New Orleans,
Carolina too.
Carolina. Yeah, the Panthers were in play for sure. I don't know.
Yeah, with the Falcons, I don't know. It's just I don't know if I buy Arthur Blank yet, the Falcons coach.
Yeah,
I know he did a good job
especially
with
what
Marcus
he did this
Mariota,
year.
but I just feel like Lamar, he's like in win now mode too. Like the Falcons would be in a
Yeah, a
rebuild
little bit behind.
Because if you go to South Beach, man,
You walk into a situation.
he just fits South Beach. I mean, the electricity there, the fast-paced vibe, the nightlife. Like Lamar just like fits South Beach. I mean, he's from Florida as well. Like Lamar, there's Ferraris all over the place in South Beach, and Lamar Jackson would be the new Ferrari in aqua blue over there too as well.
I think you're from Jacksonville, Lamar, or close, Broward. But
Yeah, it's not super far.
Pompano Beach, yeah, damn near. That's what I'm saying, bro. Why the Jags? They didn't. There's no way the Jags did not pick Lamar Jackson.
They got Lawrence, man. Lawrence could easily be a top 5 quarterback by the end of next year.
Hey man, he's top 5 right now. Stop playing. Stop playing. Stop playing. Stop playing. Stop playing. Yeah, yeah.
That's been a big topic the last, I want to say maybe decade, last 5-10 years or so with the NBA. Adam Silver just had a press conference for his yearly All-Star press conference or something like that. He was asked a question about load management. He says no, he doesn't really see that it's a problem or necessarily, and that he's only worried about player safety and health and stuff like that, and making sure that the star players are well rested because that they run the league and stuff like that. That wasn't quote for quote. That's just paraphrasing of basically what he said. Well, how do you feel about load management, Dan?
Here's the thing about load management. When I look at the NBA season, I kind of think of it like more or less like the soccer. I can't really, I don't know how to describe it, like FIFA. FIFA that's the organization, but you know what I mean. It's just a long season, a lot of games, consecutive games, and they're very demanding physically. Your legs have, that's a lot of things. That's the one thing NBA players talk about. Your legs have to get under you. Make sure you're all right to play 82 games. I think it's fine. load management, just because of how long the season is. I know there's been talk of shortening the season. Me personally, I'm not for it. I feel like you can just organize it better so you can keep the 82 game format and stuff like that, because then it just starts to mess with the records a lot and stuff like that. A lot of things. There's just a lot of collateral to deal with if you make a drastic change like that. So if they do shorten the season, I hope it's maybe not by 10 games, maybe just by a few games, like half of that, 5 or so. But to me, load management, I know it sucks because of you watch the games to see the players play, but you only really see load management prevalent in players with, like injury history, like Zion Williamson. I know it sucks because he's young. We haven't got to see him play a lot, but you see how severe his injuries are. People got to remember, bro, athletes, when they get off the basketball court too, they have a life. They have a livelihood, a life, family they want to see. They want to be able to move around and stuff, get up in the morning with no pain. So they're humans too, bro. They got to make, it might suck. And most of the time too, I think there's a quote from Curry when they were talking about load management. Most of the time, a player's not just gonna come out and ask to sit. You know what I mean? They love to play the game. This is their livelihood. Like I said, they dedicated their lives to this stuff. So I don't know, man. I think if it's necessary for load management, let it happen, but just don't force it. And you don't see it forced upon a lot of young players. Ja Morant doesn't really do load management, or I don't know. You never know, because with the injuries and stuff like that nowadays, they're super vague. So they get away with it a lot, so they don't get fined. Yeah.
Left sore knee.
Yeah.
But he was just dunking on people.
Yeah.
20 hours.
Pre-game warm up, they were just dunking and stuff like that. Nah, he's sore. 360 windmill on the layup lines. Nah, he can't play. He's sore. That's the type of stuff that makes me sick. That's not good for the game, for the integrity of the game. It's not good. But you won't ever see it in the younger stars like Jason Tatum. He's not really doing load management, and if he does do load management, it'll be a select few games. You know what I mean? Or it'll be like on the second half of a back-to-back, or if they have like a long road stretch coming up, an important stretch, they'll sit him, let him do his thing, let him get some extra rest. And sometimes load management, it just makes sense. Like at the end of the season, if the Celtics, if they got the 1 seed locked up, and they want to see what some players are looking like for the playoffs, they want to allow some of the bench players get warmed up, get in form, get their shots up. There's no really need for Jason Tatum to play, say if they have 10, 15 games left in the season, there's no need for him to play all 10, 15, especially if, like I said, they locked up the 1 seed, they did what they need to do. Jason Tatum wants to sit 4 games and play only 6. I'm not saying he should go 50-50. I feel like 50-50 is a little too much. You're making a little too much money to be sitting 50-50 if you want to play. Or even if it is 50-50, bro, it's the last 10 games of the season. It doesn't really mean much. It just depends on the team and situation. So it's a very sticky topic, but I think I'm all right with it. I don't really see too much of an issue with load management.
All right.
If you want, bro, like I'm telling you, bro, you want to interject, whatever will cut me off.
No. I just got a lot to say too as well about this, because I have an issue with this, and you know I have an issue with this, and we've talked about this before that we even started the show or something like that, and like in over text and stuff like that. Like, I have a huge issue with load management. But before I get into my issues with it, if you're injured and you don't play, I don't have a problem with it. If you're legitimately hurt, I don't have a problem with it. Sit as long as you need to play, or sit as long as you need. We'll see you, and we'll be ready for you when you get back to get on the court and stuff like that. And another thing too is it's not just the players that are just sitting. I mean, it's a lot of the players that are doing the load management, but it's also the organization that tells people you need to sit out this one. We need to manage you. We need to sit out and rest this one when the players want to play. And that's just to protect the contract that they signed. They don't want the max contract guy that they just signed to be out for 2 years. They want him ready for the playoffs, which I understand that. I completely understand that. But I have an issue with players when they load manage, and they've been load managing for 3 years and haven't stepped on the court in over a year. I'm going to start name dropping people like Kawhi Leonard. Where you been, bro? We haven't seen you since the bubble when you lost 3-1 to the Nuggets. You blew it. You choked a 3-1 lead. You haven't been on the court, bro.
That's what
And
I
you're getting
mean.
paid you're getting paid max dollar in LA to sit on the bench.
Do you think
where have you been, bro?
He
where
has
have
an
you
injury
been?
history. That's kind of what I'm talking about, like in older players and stuff. If
With the Spurs, they said he's 100% completely healthy. I don't know why he's playing. I don't know why he's not playing. San Antonio's not schmuck like that. They're not going to make you go out there if you're actually hurt. He's been doing this for years. It's not like it's just been the last 2 years just since he got the Clippers. No, Kawhi Leonard's been doing this stuff to fans and people for his whole career. I mean, people pay their hard-earned money to go see you.
He tore his ACL in the Clippers when he was with the Clippers in the finals. I mean, in the playoffs, not the finals. Was it the Western Conference or semifinals? I forget. He tore his ACL.
They haven't even been to a Western Conference finals with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George.
So semis. I
So
forget who they played, but then they went on and they lost to the Suns. I think they won that game, but he didn't come back for the playoffs.
But I'll get back to Anthony Edwards said this too in during the All-Star break. He said, if you can play, you should be able to play. Yeah. Anthony Edwards has missed only 10 games his entire career. And he's 20-some years old, and he's telling these cats who have been in the league, getting these max dollars to play the damn game. I mean, people are paid their hard-earned money, like Anthony Edwards said, to come watch you. Maybe they can only spend for one game during the year, and you decide to sit out for that game. You're playing the game of basketball and you're good at it, but you wouldn't be in the position you are today if it wasn't for the fans.
Yeah.
The people in the past. Michael Jordan never took days off. Kobe Bryant didn't take days off. LeBron James doesn't take his days off. My favorite player in the league, Giannis, doesn't take his days off. He tried to play in he wanted to play in the All-Star game, but he was obviously hurt. I mean, dude sprained his hand or whatever. He's going to be missing a couple games come back from the All-Star break. Jason Tatum doesn't take off games. Anthony Edwards doesn't take off games. I'm not saying everyone does it, but the select few that do it, they're ruining it for everybody else when it comes to the new CPA. Because there's going to be some stipulations from the owners saying you got to play 75% of the games unless to be able to earn for incentives and stuff like that. Ben Simmons, what are you doing? Oh, I got mental health issues. I'm not saying mental health issues aren't a thing.
But
what do you mean you're sitting out 2 years for mental health issues, man? 2 years? You can't play basketball?
Now it's his back. So
now your back hurts. It's just there's always something. Mental health issues. If you actually have mental health issues, 100% to sit out. Take your time. I'm not saying mental health isn't an injury or it's not anything, but I'm just saying you're taking away from what the game of basketball is, which is the stars. Everyone comes to see the stars, and when you're not on the court, that's a problem. And if it's not for a legit reason, that's the bigger problem. Kyrie Irving, that's an easy one too. I mean, the whole vaccine thing in New York, not letting him play, but it was a year like after the bubble or whatever, they came back, he didn't have the vaccine. He can't play in New York, but he can play the away games and stuff like that.
Weird, Kyrie got. We could have a whole podcast segment on Kyrie, honestly, dude. What goes on with I a lot of the things I don't agree with, or why they made him miss games, I don't agree with, because at first it was COVID. A very, very little portion of Kyrie's career actually in Brooklyn was he injured. I think only the first year he actually got injured. The rest of the time he just missed games because the vaccine requirements, and then a lot of it was just run-ins with the media, whatever it may be, the team suspension. A lot of that just kind of overclouded and overshadowed what went on with him. So, but my bad. I didn't want to cut off what you were saying.
No, you're good. But I mean, during the whole COVID thing, though, when he was out because he didn't feel right with the insurrection at the Capitol or whatever. He said, my head's not in the right place. Okay, fine. But then we see a video of you at a party with your sister.
Birthday,
yeah. Which means that you got to miss another 2 weeks because you can't be around those people because you're violating the policy. So then you get another time off because you have to from the NBA. So him and select other people are doing the absolute most to not get on the court.
Yeah, I there's not much you can really argue with that. I don't know if maybe it's because I'm a Kyrie fan, but I try not to be biased when I say stuff like that. I don't know if it's really even because, like I said, players are humans too, man. Sometimes they are morally, dude. When you start making this type of money, you got to stand for something. You got to put your foot down or whatever. So maybe if he wasn't a multi-million-dollar athlete, or of course if he wasn't a multi-million-dollar athlete, this story wouldn't be as big as it was, or whatever he was doing wouldn't be as big as it was, or big of a problem. But there's got to be some sort of fine line between abusing it and it's the term I'm looking for, abusing it and using it for what it is, just I guess, and whatever it may be, wherever it gets determined by, like you said, in the CBA contracts, wherever they feel it the most. I feel like that's where they should feel it the most, actually, the CBA. So I think it's good. I don't know why there wasn't a stipulation or something in the contract for that, or a statement that says you have to play so and so games or whatever for guaranteed money, whatever it may be. That's how it should always be, because availability is the best availability is the, you know what I'm trying to say, man. You just gotta deserve your money. You gotta earn it, man. You gotta earn it. You can't just buy based off of previous years or so. You gotta be making an active commitment to your contract, the contract that you signed. You can't just wussy out of it and just, you know, collect your pay on the back end. Nah, dude, that's not what it's about. It's not what it's about. But that's why the NBA is so complex, man. You got to deal with egos. You got to deal with a lot of things, morals and stuff like that, outside of the money, outside of the basketball. It's just a whole nother game to it. Sometimes you kind of, and fans, they don't really see that, and they'll just look at the player like, what is he doing? What is he doing? There's just so much more that goes on to it behind the scenes.
Go take your time, do whatever you need to do. We'll come back when you're ready. But Ben Simmons, how is your back hurt from not doing anything now? Kyrie, now that you're in Dallas, now you're going to play every game, right? Because it's a contract year, right? Now you need to get paid. Now you're going to show up.
Yeah.
I bet you Kawhi, when it's his contract year, he'll be on the court.
Yeah, no, you're right. That is just how it works.
It's only select few people. It's only select few, but it's going to affect everyone.
If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, share with somebody. Let us know what you guys think. If you guys have any rebuttals or anything that we said, you think we're wrong, think we're right, agree, drop a comment, get at us on our socials. We'll leave all that stuff on the screen somewhere. Yeah, but yeah, thanks for watching. Ethan, you got anything to say?
We'll see you guys back here Sunday.
Yeah, damn straight.